Zay, thanks for hopping on today, brother.
Yeah, of course, bro. Thanks for having me.
Of course, man. Of course. So, hopping right in, for the people that don't know, can you tell us a little bit about like what got you into the life insurance space? How did we end up here?
Yeah, good question. So, honestly, it was a space that I was super interested in for like months and months before I joined. I had like one of my good childhood friends of mine were in the space, and like obviously, like with them posting online and stuff, like I was watching them crush it. And I was like, dang, like I low key want to make money like that, of course. And so, like before the insurance space, I was in like landscaping and like ground maintenance. So, like irrigation with like sprinklers, landscaping, even like mowing lawns, like kind of like those three were like the big three. And I was working for my dad. So I couldn't just like get up and leave. So I told my buddy, I was like, bro, I'm interested. I want to do this, but you got to give me like 4 months until the end of like the mowing and like the irrigation season. So then I could like not just leave my dad high and dry. Like, I want to finish out the season, make sure that he doesn't need me, and then I'll transition. So I was watching him, just like watching his results, watching what he was doing for like 4 months. And then I think it was like late October, early November is when I like got my schooling, started to get licensed and contracted. And then I think I sold my first policy at the end of November. So technically I like started late November, but with Thanksgivings, Christmases, we had trips planned and we were out of town. I didn't really go full time until the beginning of the year. So that's how I got into the space. But yeah,
And when you said beginning of the year, are you referring to this year or was this last year?
I'm referring to this year, yeah, 2026. So like late
Oh, nice.
2025, like November, December. And then I
Mhm.
just really started going full time at the beginning of the year. And that was the same time that I started using the agent lead lab leads.
Oh, dude, I didn't know that, bro. So this is why I like
Yeah.
these. Genuinely, like I didn't know that. That makes this even better. Okay, dope. All right. So I guess, yeah, walk us through your first 30, like your first full 30 days, just in the life insurance space. Like, was it good? Was it bad? Did you get your teeth kicked in? What leads were you working at that time? Like for the agents that
Yeah.
are new watching this.
So the guy that brought me in, Elijah Lucas, he's my upline. That he when he brought me in, we just ran straight veterans. Like that's what he was super comfortable with. That's what he like taught me and like kind of trained me in. And like those like late months of like November, December, those like few weeks that I was working within each of those months, I was just going straight aged leads, like 45, 60-day old veteran. And it was good. Like I learned a lot. I mean, yeah, like I had people that were like super awesome to talk to, and I feel like they were really good people. I had people who were kind of stingy, people who missed their first premiums. Like it's kind of the same deal. But I think it taught me a lot. And like when I came into the industry, I feel like you hear a lot of stories of people who come into the business who are like, I like had $2 to my name and I had nothing, and now I'm like built up. Like thankfully, and like we've been like highly blessed, like from the Lord. Like I had like a couple $1,000s coming into the industry, and I always knew that the people who are performing, the people who are actually making money, like they're not just ripping like the free company leads, or they're not just ripping like the super like $1 age leads. Like these people are actually investing their money into like higher quality leads. And I knew that from a super like early point, and a super, yeah, I figured that out super quick. So my like idea and strategy was like, all right, give me like a month or two, let me rip aged a ton, let me like get this down. And then it's like, then there's once I've like got a couple deposits in my account, once I've like figured out that it's real, then it's like, okay, then there's nothing really holding me back from like high intent leads. So that was like the first couple months. It was strictly like aged leads just because I was learning. I was still figuring out how to really sell at a high level, overcome objections. And then once I felt comfortable enough in my script, once I felt comfortable enough like with the actual product and like I could answer any question, then I was like, okay, then it's like spending the money on a high intent lead was worth it if they were going to lead to a higher, making more money.
Dude, 100%. What do you feel like that process taught you?
That's a good question. I honestly, like, it taught me a lot about like this specific industry. I mean, I think we have a lot of like crazy producers in our office in Denver. Like Dom Vasco, I think he's number 10 in FFL, and like he's literally in the office right next to me. We have like Brian Turner, he's selling over 600K a year on his personal pen. John Shield, like his team's about to crack 1 million a month. Like we have some like real like dogs and producers in the office, and like I feel like their advice going in like before getting into high intent was like the reason like for my success early on, especially because they all told me, bro, like whenever you spend $2,000, like you're gonna write $10,000 of business at least, like or more, but at least 10,000. So two equals 10. And so that's like what I've always like gone by. Like that's what I've always like understood, like the math in my brain of like, okay, if I'm gonna invest two, I'm gonna at least write 10 and then I'll be good. And then like the rest is just like, added on, but I'm like calculating for like minimum 10, two in, 10 out. So I would say like that process honestly just taught me like what lead spend is actually going to bring me in terms of like profit and like actually making money.
For the listeners, because I remember this conversation, and I guess now that I know the timeline, I'm very interested. When you had first filled out our ad, and like you and I hopped on a call, I'll never forget that call because I think you headed the Bible study, and I was
Oh
that's when
yeah.
we were both believers. I was like, I like this guy.
Yeah.
But where, like, tell me about that process because a lot of
Like
people that
before
were,
finding out and like filling
yeah,
out that
yeah. Like,
ad.
how did you see our ad? I guess walk us through like the journey for us meeting, and then we'll go into like the process.
Cool. So before, I mean, am I allowed to like say about like other like lead vendors and
Yeah,
stuff or
dude, bro.
whatever?
You know,
Okay.
okay.
So before I
But
was running and like they were cool, but I'm not gonna lie, I don't like people love people think that it like is like the best. I always feel like that they are like recirculating leads and like at least that's when I was running it like 6 months ago. Maybe it's different now, but like I ran because that's what everyone else was doing. But every single time I bought a lead pack, like there was like little to no confidence that like these leads like were really only 40 to 60 days old. Like I was like, okay, like and then also like bro, I feel like with the it just felt like I was talking to people who had genuinely been talked to like 10, 15 times, and I was buying $7 leads. Like I would expect that from a $1 lead, but from like a $7 lead, like I'm buying 60 leads for like 420 bucks, and I'm getting like maybe four good conversations. And like people and then people who are like just letting me get through intro is like four or five people, and then of course like give the rest of your process. So
yeah,
I was like, bro, like, and I was closing off of them and I was still profitable, but I was like, dude, this is a grind. And like I'm not gonna lie, I just don't like the people that I'm talking with. So then a couple of the dudes in our office were trying out Vital leads. They were cool, but I was a brand new agent. I had no states. So I went out, bought a big lead pack with Vital, and then I'm getting all these states in that like I now I'm like selling a policy. Now I'm having to buy a license before I like fully submit it. And then I can't now get them back on the phone. And like there's so much more that goes into it. And I'm just like, bro, like not only am I spending on premium leads, I'm having to buy states. I can't even choose my states. I was like, this sucks.
hey,
So I had
man.
already kind of gone through the ringer, at least it felt like, with a couple different lead companies. And I was like, okay, now that I've like gone through it, now I know exactly what I'm looking for. And if like, if I'm gonna get set up with a new lead vendor, like I'm gonna vet them. Like I want to make sure that they're like what I'm looking for. And if they're what I'm looking for, then I'm good and I'm like all in on them. So then when yeah, like you're totally right. It was like a Tuesday night or something because we had like church on like a Wednesday night. So I filled out the ad like on Instagram. I had seen it, and then yeah, Trey, like you sent me a text. You said, "Hey, like it's me from whatever. Like when can we hop on a call?" And I was like, "Oh shoot, like this is real." So I was like, "Okay." I was like, "Let's hop on a call." Like I was just looking at our first text message like before we got on. So I was like, "Shoot, I want to figure out like when I actually." So it was January 16th. So it was like literally a little bit over 6 months ago. And then so we get on a call that night. Like I'm driving to church. I'm like low key talking to Trey. I'm like, bro, like, what is this? What I'm asking you a ton of questions. Like, can I pick states? Like, what is the lead replacement policy? Like, what is text verified? Like, and I'm going through all these questions because I want to make sure that like I want to get into business with someone and like have a good relationship with someone that like I can fully trust. And I felt like from that phone call, like that trust was there. And then you answered all my questions, like you were like who I was looking for. So in my opinion, there was no sense and there was no real like drive for me to go try to find someone else. Cause like the leads were at like a really good price. You were exactly like what I was looking for. And specifically for like the veteran leads that I was running, it was truly a no brainer. So yeah, I don't know if I was yapping too much, but I think that was
No,
like the
no, no.
process, a couple lead vendors, and then like I guess the intro to us meeting.
Yeah, no, 100%, bro. And I appreciate you for sharing that because that gave me context. Like I said, I didn't know. I remember when we were talking and you mentioned B turn. I'm like, bro, like I sold with a lot of these dudes when I was selling. And you were like,
Yeah.
and then I met you in person. We were at convention. I think I felt like that's when it kind of clicked and it was like, oh, okay. Because correct me if I'm wrong. Had you bought leads before we got there, or did I forget? I
No,
think,
I think I maybe had bought in like because I know that we had up on the call. I know that like that night I had put in like a small lead order. I think I was maybe on like my first, maybe second batch.
oh
Like
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
was
yeah.
super early on. And then so like I knew who you were and like I had seen your face online and stuff. And then like when I saw you at the convention at the beginning of the year, I was like, oh shoot, like that's Trey. Like I should probably go say what's up. And then Brian was like, wait, like you work with Trey? Like that's the leads that like that you've been running? I was like, yeah. And he's like, oh my gosh. He's like, yeah, like let me introduce you guys. And then yeah, that's kind of how it all started.
Yeah, dude, 100%, bro. And now, got the whole squad rocking, which is dope, which we'll get to.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So now I want to kind of transition. This is going to be good. I'm very excited about this conversation because I don't know a lot of this stuff about you, and that's why I like these combos. So just so for context, y'all, for people that are watching, Zay is like, yo, if you got something new, bro, let me know. So like anything new,
Yeah.
we gonna roll it out to Zay first, typically, because he's like, bro, I'll rip it. So I want to start. We'll start with the IULs. You ran the text verify IULs. I
Yeah.
want you to talk a little bit about your experience, the good, the bad, what you like. Obviously, you wrote a banger policy, but kind of, I guess for an agent that's watching, yo, I want to run the text verified IUL leads. What was your experience? I know you only did one pack, but you could give them kind of your
Yeah.
context on it, bro.
Yeah, no, 100%. So I've only bought in one like text verified IUL pack. I've also bought in a trucker IUL pack, like, and we can talk about those separately. But for just the text verified IULs, like literally the first lead that came in, I sold, it was a his and hers. His policy was 500 a month, hers was 300 a month. So that was like a little bit shy of 10K AP just from like the first lead that I got. So obviously I was like, oh shoot, like this is fire, like whatever. Get down the lead pack and actually let me open them up on my phone. Cause like once I can see the lead pack, then I know I'm like, okay, it'll like remind me of like
Yeah,
what actually
100%.
happened.
Please, that's a
So
great
hold on.
concept.
Verified IUL. Okay. So like I got 34 leads in total. My first one was like that 10K AP. There's been a couple people that I just haven't even gotten on the phone yet. Like genuinely, I haven't even talked to them. I had a lot of people who were like super solid callbacks and like people that honestly just over time I forget to follow up with. So it's like honestly that I could probably rip back through that sheet again, to be honest. But like the first lead definitely paid for the whole lead batch. That was cool. I sold another lead. It was like lead 33. So like right towards the end. And I believe hers was pretty decent too. I think hers was maybe like 150 a month or something. So like definitely enough to like, okay, like that was sick. Those are the only two leads that I actually ended up selling. But I
Mhm.
had six conversations where I had like where we were like we went through the whole process. They just genuinely wanted to think and talk it over with probably like whoever, wife or whatever. But there's a lot of people where like we went through the full application, like social, banking, everything. And they were just like, okay, like before like we fully submit it, like let's pump the brakes, let me go have a conversation. And I just never ended up closing and finishing up the deal. And that's six different people. So I think like honestly, and that was my first time ever running like a real IUL batch of anything. So I feel like that they were honestly not even that bad. Like I don't exactly remember how much I spent on it, but I know that
Mhm.
AP'd like 12K,
Right.
probably more than that. So yeah, I mean, they were good. I just think that like the real bread and butter for me were the vets, and they were like, I was like, if it's not broke, don't really fix it.
Don't fix it. I want to, and we're gonna get to that, dude. I feel like and I'm just taking a swing here, but I'm gonna let you like correct me. I feel like you're good at selling life insurance, and it makes me even more confident to say that because I genuinely didn't know that you're really only like 7, 8 months solid into this thing. But
Yeah.
take me a step back, bro. Like, what made you even like want to just hop into it? And the fact that you even sold too, I guess I'm trying to understand for the agent that's watching that's like, oh, I'm super scared. I don't want to try a new lead type, whatever it is. Like, can you walk us through like how did you get to the point where you're like, yeah,
Oh,
I'll rip this or like how do we get there, bro?
yeah.
I love that. Like,
Yeah, 100%. Well, honestly, like the cool thing about Agent Lead Lab is I forget like what the exact metrics are, but like for your FEX leads, your vets, your IULs, you guys do have an average AP. You guys have an average of like, okay, like this is what the average person is closing off of this lead. I appreciate that a lot. And like for me, that's like I don't know. Honestly, like people in the office, they kind of like poke fun at me like a little bit because like I'm down to buy whatever lead type and try out any lead. Like I don't care. Like I'll rip whatever as long as I feel like I understand it and I'm actually going to get on the phone with someone and I can actually help them out. Then
Hmm.
I'll rip whatever lead. I don't care. So for me, I was always super interested in the IUL space because typically with veterans, they're all on a fixed income. They're not probably going to be spending like more than $300 a month. Like that's pretty rare. For IULs, the thing that really intrigued me was these people are typically still working. And these people are going to use this insurance for a couple different reasons rather than just paying for a funeral like a veteran.
Right.
So people are usually willing to put a little bit more money where their mouth is, especially when you're still bringing in a decent amount of income. So I was like, okay, if I can get in front of someone who's still working, who's still bringing in money, and who can kind of plan out what this policy will be for and like have a real reason to need it beyond just having a high death benefit, then like, okay, like let me get in front of that person and just see what happens. Cause like in my brain, if someone brought me, like if I didn't know anything about an IUL and someone talked to me about one, it would seem like a no brainer. Like I'm married. If I got an illness and I needed a part of my death benefit to pay for my bills, I would use that. If
Right.
I wanted to build cash value, like because I don't have like real investments in the stock market, like yeah, like that's a super safe way to like build cash value. And also, God forbid something happen, like my wife's taken care of. Like that's literally a no brainer. So I'm like, okay, like let me get in front of someone and talk to them about this because I don't really like. And you bring up like me being like a good salesman. I don't really think I'm that good of a salesman. I just think that the product genuinely sells itself. Like all I have to do is answer questions about the product and the product will sell itself. So, yeah, I mean, the IULs and like stuff like that, like they're great. I just think that like in my opinion, the people that like I can just talk to are like these sweet old grandmas and the veterans. Like I'll chop it up with a veteran for a minute. And but no, like the IULs are great. Like so for the person who I guess who's listening, who's like debating about the lead type, like my question would be like, do you see the value in a policy like that? Like
Yeah, yeah.
like if you think that a policy like that would be valuable to you, then obviously that valuable or that policy would be valuable to someone else. Like, and that's just the facts. Like, so yeah, I think for an agent who's thinking, okay, like what lead should I run? Like, can I try this or that lead? Like, I would say try out a lead if you think it would actually help someone and you could see yourself like benefiting if you had this put in place. It's that
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I love that, bro. I mean, I think the fact that you do keep things so simple is part of the reason why you can sell different leads. Because even like the truckers, like when I had mentioned something about you, you're like, dude, I'll try those. And like
Yeah.
everything, you're just like, I'll try. And I'm like, I rock with that. But I also think that's genuinely because I think you're just like, I'm just going to take care of this person as long as I have a general understanding of what it does and I'm not lying or being manipulative, but I'm telling this person the truth about what's going to happen. Then
Yeah,
like we should be all right, you know? And I mean, I
for
think that's
sure.
the name of the game when it comes across. Any touching points on like the truckers and your experience with them? Because I know you sold a handful of those and those weren't even
I did.
text verified, bro. I don't know if you had
Yeah,
anything to share.
I definitely had more success with the truckers than I did the regular IULs. I
Yeah.
also just think because like trucker IULs right now are such a hype that like if you get on the phone with a trucker, like they're gonna know exactly what you're talking about and they're gonna be like, oh yeah, like tell me more. Like my buddy has this, my two buddies have this, like I want one, like tell me more. Like I had a veteran lead. I closed him. He was a veteran. He was a younger veteran, but he was literally a truck driver. I closed him like 2, 3 months ago. He calls me back. He says, Isaiah, like, can I get one of the trucker IUL? I was like, dude, we already got you an IUL. He's like, no, like I want a trucker IUL. He's like, my friend had one and I want one. I was like, all right, let me break this down for you, Ruben. Like, and I had to go through the whole process and broke it down for him. I'm like, dude, like, you're good. Like, we already got you set up. Like, I was already thinking like for why you actually needed the policy, and we already got you set up for building cash value. We already got you set up for a high death benefit. Like you're good. And
Right.
then he's like, oh, okay. Like, okay, that makes sense. And so after that, like he was good. But yeah, like I have people like that and they're just veterans. So like the trucker IULs, in my opinion, I had more success with because they literally sell themselves. And
Mm.
so it's like, it doesn't make any sense to have, I guess in my opinion, I was leaning more towards the truckers because it's like there's also some hype around it. And so like if you can,
Yeah, that's
people
true.
buy hype all the time, you know? So I think let me pull up my trucker sheet. Hold on. I'll tell you like how many policies I sold because I think I got 50 leads and they weren't text verified. So like I had a couple of like replacements from bad numbers or something like that, but they weren't actually that bad. But I sold one, two, three, four. I sold four policies, but one of them was a his and hers. So I sold like five policies, like one in every 10 leads. I was selling someone, and the AP was super high because truckers actually make pretty good money. Like I
Yeah.
was selling, I think like my smallest one was for 2,400 AP. So like they were actually fire. Now, yeah, I guess for that person too, who's probably like listening, trying to figure out like what lead, it's like, bro, like, do you think that like there's enough hype around the product? Do you think it's actually a good product and that like it would take care of them? And, like the trucker script that I was running, I thought was super good. Like
Yeah.
we have a really good trucker script that like built a ton of value around the product and like it really like hit on like the why, like why you actually need this. And like once you got someone past that, like they were pretty stupid to say no. And we do have some people who are like, no, like I just need to think about it. It's like, all right, bro. Like there's not a whole lot more value I can build around the product. You just probably weren't a buyer. And that's okay.
Yeah. No, 100%, bro. I'm gonna have to get that trucker script off you and give it to some people. Cause dude, you just like I'm telling you, bro, you be running leads, bro. You're like, yeah, bro, I'll rip it. And you just come up with sales. I'm like, this dude's nice. Okay, so now let's get into the bread and butter, because that's where everybody
Yeah.
knows you post in the chat. You be in the chat
Yeah.
too, bro. I love it, bro. All right.
Yeah.
But dude, let's hop into it. So I'm gonna give you the floor. You can take as long as you want. I really want you to break down the psychology of the sale for these veterans, bro, because you're closing consistently.
Yeah.
I want you to break down your thought process through the intro. What do you do after the intro? How do you quote? When are you doing like medical questions? Any little tips and tricks you got, and how you're
Yeah.
closing? So I'm gonna let you just take the floor, bro. Masterclass.
Cool. So yeah, I think like for the veterans is like my bread and butter. I really do like, yeah, I just have so much confidence buying those leads because I know for a fact like I'm gonna close off of them. So the intro is pretty simple. I just like say, hey, like, is this Bob? And they're gonna be like, hey, yeah. And then I just confirm information that they put down. Like, okay, cool. You still live in Tennessee. Okay, you put your age here 77 and you put your beneficiary as, your wife. Like those three things ring a bell. Like, yeah, okay, cool. And then just asking them, if they need it for burial or like a funeral or just for some I love you money. They usually tell you right away, like, oh, I just need like a little bit of both or just a burial. Like, okay, cool. Like, listen, I just want to take a second and explain to you who I am. Like, my name's Isaiah. I'm an insurance broker licensed in the state of Tennessee to help you find the most amount of insurance for the cheapest rate. Like, does that make sense? And I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. And then I go right into health questions from there. So I go from there, like, okay, let's just like jump right into it. Like how our script does it, like, okay, we have a couple of discounts that you can qualify for. Like, are you a smoker, non-smoker? Hit that line and then go straight into medical questions. Like, okay, you go to the VA or the civilian doctor for your health care. And then you just go through all the regular health questions like strokes, TIA, stents, cancer, kidney, liver problems, diabetes, high blood pressure, like whatever, you get a good idea, height and weight. And then I go, okay, cool. Based on what you've told me, I have a couple benefits about the policy that I think that like are really important to you. Then I go into immediate coverage, death benefit, non-increasing premiums, like the actual benefits of the policy. And I say, okay, and out of curiosity, like, is this something that you can actually see yourself like benefiting from? And then if they tell me no right there, then they're probably not a buyer. Like, and I don't just hang up on like the phone on them. But like once we go through the benefits of the policy and I tell them what they can qualify for, like they filled out the advertisement. Now we're talking about like if it actually could benefit them, but they already know it would benefit them or they wouldn't have filled it out. So it's a little bit of like a rhetorical question. And that's kind of why I ask it. Okay, like at this point, like, do you really feel like a policy like this would be beneficial for you if we found something that was affordable? They're like, yeah, like if it's affordable, like, yeah, this is exactly what I'm looking for. Okay, cool. Then I go back into budget. So then I go over their income. Okay, cool. And I like the line that I love to use. And I used to get a lot of income objections and like, why do you know how much I make? Like, and it just like brought a real like guard up with people because I used to ask income before health questions. And
Mm.
it's just like, I like to like recently I've been doing health questions before income because I think it like, in my opinion, it like validates me more. Like I don't care about your money. I'm not going to ask about that first. I'm going to ask about your health and tell you what you qualify for. And then we can go over your money. Like your money is a separate issue and we can deal with that later. but let's actually figure out if this policy makes sense. Because if like you're telling me, yeah, I got stage 4 kidney cancer and tumor, it's like, okay, we can get you some coverage, but like this is how your policy is going to look. You're going to get on a 2-year waiting period. Like, do you see yourself benefiting from this? And if they're like, no, like I want it immediate, I only want it immediate, then I'll push back. Like, listen, like if you die by accident, it'll still pay out. If you, pay in a few premiums and then you end up passing away, it'll pay back your premiums plus 10%. Like, that's much better than a bank. And like, I'll still try to close them. But if they're, like people are like, they're hard headed. So it's like, if they only wanted immediate coverage, like I'll go let a different agent write that policy and clean sheet it. Like, that's cool. I don't care. So for me, like once I go for health questions, then I go to budget. Okay. Like my line that I like to use is like, the insurance carriers typically don't want you spending more than 5 to 10% on these policies per month. So with that being said, like, are you currently collecting Social Security, disability, anything like that? Then they'll tell me exactly how much they're bringing in. Okay, perfect. And after all your bills are paid for, you do all the fun things you like to do. How much would you say that you're left over with each month, just as a ballpark? Only like $1,000. Okay, so we're going to try to use that number as our 5 to 10%, because we're not trying to take a look at the $6,000 that you bring in because your VA disability. Like, we're not going to try to get you a $600 a month policy. Like, that's just going to turn him off. If he wants to ask for it, then we can always go up. But let's figure out a 5 to 10% of what you're like left over with. So that's how I do it. And then once we figure that out, then we just go into quotes. Like, I just quote just like what I like told them I would, like roughly 5 to 10%. Like how our script does it is like a bronze, silver, gold option. So I usually do bronze like 5% of their budget, silver 10, and then the gold I'll push it. I'll go like 15. And then I'll tell them like if 15 like percent of their budget is only like 15K, but hey, listen, you're eligible up to $25,000 of coverage if you want to continue to look up. But out of those 3 options, like which one's the most comfortable, or do you want to look up for some more coverage? And then I'll let them pick if they want to start spending $400 or $500 a month. But I'm not going to like bring that up as a first option. So that's how I go about the intro numbers. And I feel like, yeah, I don't know. Like once you get someone on the phone, it's like they always know exactly what they filled out. Or at least I would say like 80% of the time. Like I had a chick the other day that picked up the phone. Like she just came in. I called her immediately. She's like, yeah, like I need $10,000 right now. I was like, no, like this is for the life insurance to pay out your beneficiary when you pass away. Like, oh, I needed money now. Like, what can you do for me? Like you're the VA, right? And I'm like, what? Like, no. She's like, well, I'm in a nursing home. I have dementia. Like, I need something quick. I'm like, what are we talking about? So like, that's like, that truly is like the 15%. Like, I'll be honest, like 15% of the people who are filling out the lead request are either like just tweakers, people who just don't understand what they actually like filled out, or people who are like, I didn't mean to fully do that. I was just wanting to see what it would cost. It's like, yeah, it's exactly why I'm here. They're like, no, like just email me. It's like, bro. And then they just hang up. So it's like, okay, those people were never going to be buyers in the first place anyway. Like it is what it is.
Right.
So, and that's going to happen with every lead type. That happened a ton with like the other leads that I was running. So it's not because of your leads. It's just the industry. Like you're never going to find a lead vendor who's like 100% close rate. Like they all want policies right now. It's like no one's doing that because it's impossible. Because you can't control the people who fill out the lead request, So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, I've set appointments though. Like my thing with these leads that I've had to like learn is like when you call them immediately, like once they come in, like they probably like, they might not pick up. It's like a real 50-50. But after like you call, once you send them a text and say, hey, like, it's Isaiah. Like, I'm just getting back to you about the veteran life insurance that you were looking into. Like, you still living in Tennessee, right? Or something like that. Then they're like, yes. Okay, perfect. Like, when's a good time for a 5-minute phone call? And then they're like, oh, okay. Like, yeah, just call me now. Like,
Dang, I didn't know that.
because
Okay.
like they don't recognize the phone number, which is valid. Like, I decline calls all the time too. So like if I call, and then I send them like follow up with like a text immediately explaining who I am, then they're like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, give me a call. And then I'll call them up and then they know exactly what it's for. Then we have a good conversation, whether or not they buy a policy or not.
That's actually fire. So what you're saying is you'll like triple dial, double dial them, but then
Yeah,
follow up the text and be like,
immediately if they don't pick up. Yeah.
and you're just ripping that off of like your normal cell phone then, right? I'm assuming.
Yeah. Well, I have a business phone now, but in the beginning, yeah, it was just off my cell phone.
Yeah. Dude, 100%, bro. That's okay. That's kind of fire. I want to take a step back. So you're going from intro, very small. What are you looking for? Straight into like health questions. Did you always do that?
Correct.
Was that just kind of like the script, the way the script's been set up, or did you flip that at some point and then do like you
Yeah.
said, the figuring out how much money they make?
So how our script works in our office is intro, why, budget, health.
Okay.
So then I flipped it from intro, getting a small idea of what they were looking to get into, like just burial or like extra money. So intro, a little bit of an idea, and then discounts. That's where I think that's where I feel like I get a lot of people who are like, oh, okay, like we're into this, like right now. So like we're 2 minutes into the phone call, and I say, okay, just letting you know, like you have a discount that you can qualify for. And they're like, oh, okay, cool. Like, okay. And are you smoker or non-smoker? Oh, non-smoker. Perfect. Yeah, we can
Okay.
get you down for that discount. And then it's like, okay. And then for all your medical needs. So it's not like I don't go, okay, Miss Terry, I got to ask you a few medical questions, unfortunately, because people just get turned off by that, I feel. Because I feel like I've said that before, and people are like, oh, wait, what? Like, no, no, wait, no, I don't have to do that. Like, you said no health checks. It's like, bro, what? So like I just like and I don't even preface it. I just go straight into it. Like once I like go intro, explain who I am just briefly, and then figure out like what they need, discount, and then straight into okay, for all your healthcare needs, go to VA or civilian. Okay, cool. Any heart attacks, and then I'm just right into it because truly like that's what they want. They want to know the information. They want to know prices immediately, and they want to just make a decision, yes or no, really fast. Our job is to take them through the process of not only the numbers, but the emotional side of it too. So that's where like the real difference is. It's like they want to go quick and we have to show them that, yeah, we're going fast too. But I'm also going to take you on a little bit of like a emotional roller coaster here because I need you to understand the importance of getting a policy right now rather
Mm.
than waiting 2 more weeks to think about it. So, and then the way that I do that is pretty simple. It's just like let's just jump right into it. Now, are you a smoker, non-smoker? Go through the health questions. And then once like we're getting into it, because they're like, oh wow, he's snappy. Like, let's get this done. It's like, okay, cool. And then like, who is this policy for? You just put down children. Like, what are your children's names? How many children do you have? Okay, cool. Now I get all their beneficiary information. Okay. Now, with that being said, then I go over budget because now it's like, listen, my goal here is not to take any food off the table. My goal is just to make sure that we find something that's affordable for you. So, like, let's go over your budget. Okay. Now, after budget, health questions, income, now you're at like the big three. Now it's time for quotes. And then after that, it's just finding something that's truly affordable. And then during that process, like you're digging into the why, you're figuring out why they need it. If they already have something, if they don't have something, that's when you ask all your questions that you're supposed to ask. It's just, I think, getting into the health questions quick and the discounts quick is I think like what really makes them feel like, okay, yeah, like we're getting into this and I'm going to figure it out fast. Like that's what they think. But really what I'm doing is just making them think that we're going to rip through this and I'm going to give them quotes in a minute. And then they're going to think about it and call me back. But really, I'm going to take them through a little bit of an emotional trial run here and explain what it would look like if they didn't have it in place. Look, figure out what it would look like if we got an additional policy because you already have 20,000 that you got up that you got set up 20 years ago. Like, let's run through a scenario where you already had that, or if you had an additional policy. Like, let's run through a couple of things and build some value before we get into quotes. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Any other tips while we're here, tips or tricks in regards to presentation that you can give to agents that are trying to sell vets more effectively from your experience?
Yeah. The one thing that I would say is that I've gotten on the phone with some vets before who were like, yeah, like the advertisement said 50,000. Like, I need 50,000. I'm like, okay, perfect, brother. Like, there's no problem with getting you 50,000, but sometimes our hearts are a little bit bigger than our budgets. So let's go ahead and find something that's going to take care of your needs first and get the bare bones put in place. Then we'll take care of the additional. And so, like, prefacing it like that, but also for the clients that like you've gone through budget with and you know that they're broke, that they have no money, then being honest is the best thing. So, like, if we were running through right now and I was talking to someone who was left over with less than $500 a month, and they were telling me, yeah, I want to pay for my whole burial and I want to leave some I love you money behind. Like, I want to do both of those. I just being honest and transparent, in my opinion, is the best. It's just like, okay, perfect. Like, so what we're going to do right now is we're going to take a look at something to take care of the full funeral expense. After we get that fully taken care of, we can look into more coverage to leave some I love you money, but we can both agree that we need to get at least the bare minimum put in place, correct? So then it takes their mind off of needing 50,000, bringing it back down to, okay, I only really need 10. I only need 10 and I can always increase to 50 later, but I need 10. So let's go ahead and start with 10. We can get 20 in a year if my financial situation changes, which it probably won't because they're on a fixed income. But as long as you're giving them like that idea of like you're not locked into this forever, then in my opinion, it helps you downsell the coverage amount a lot. And I think that's the biggest tip I would say for running veterans is downsell the amount of coverage that they need. So like some people think I need 50,000. Like, man, I just need it. It's like, okay, cool. Like, let's go ahead. We can get you qualified up to 50,000. And then go through and be like, listen, what we're looking at based on your budget and based on what it costs, let's go ahead and take care of the bare minimum. And I'm going to give you a call back in 6 months. After 6 months, we can go ahead and increase it to that silver or gold option. But for right now, we need to start with the bronze because you need to have something put in place. And then they're like, yeah, I mean, that makes sense. And they might give you some pushback, but you're going to get objections no matter what. So you got to be a dog and overcome it. But it's what it is.
Oh, dude, 100%, bro. I appreciate you for sharing that because that's definitely a lot of game and that's a lot of perspective. One thing that I think is super important that a lot of people don't always emphasize when it comes to like this dynamic is the transparency. So before we break into like working with us, like your experience with us, etc., can you provide context? Because I think it's good to hear from both of the phone call that we had. I think it was like a month and a half ago, just
Yeah.
about like your experience. We broke down the numbers. You were like, oh, okay, cool. And then just kind of got back to ripping. But for people
Yeah,
that don't know, because like I said, I like to be very transparent on here about,
for
you
sure.
know, Zay's ripping, etc. So can you walk us through like how that went, our conversation, and then obviously like kind of where we're at now, and we'll transit keep going.
100%. So I'll kind of give more context to what Trey's talking about in terms of that phone call that happened about like a month ago. Long story short, I've never bought a lead pack that was like more than $2,000 at one time. I would buy $1,000 worth of leads, and then I'd wait for that one to fill. Then I'd go another thousand, then another thousand. So I was like, okay, and it's cool. Like, and it was working for me. I had like that steady lead flow coming in, and it was cool. But then, like the first time that I had jumped from 1,000 in the lead batch, and I just bought a double the size at one time for 2,000. I bought the same leads. Everything was the same. I just bought a bigger lead batch. So I bought the lead batch. They were dripping in. I was getting, I think it was like around 60 leads. I closed like 4 policies off of those 60 leads.
Mhm.
And for me, that is horrible. Like I'm usually closing around 4 to 5 off of like 30 leads. So like I was genuinely doing half of my production on double the amount of lead spend. So I was super pissed. And I was like, bro, these are not the results that I typically see. Like, what is going on? So I get on a phone call with Trey and I just like laid it out. I was like, dude, like, I don't know what happened, but like, I'm not selling the way I'm selling, but I'm selling, but I'm spending twice the amount of money. Like,
Yeah.
what the heck happened? Like, did we change
Yeah.
something with the advertisement? Like, did anything change? And Trey was like, yeah, like the only thing we changed is we added more questions to qualify people, which was true. Like they added in like a beneficiary and then like the reason for coverage, which was honestly like now it's great. But before when I was on the phone with you, I was like, bro, like that just screwed everything up. Cause now I'm on the phone with someone and like I wasn't closing. I was like, bro, like it's like something's broken. Like, and I'm not broken because obviously
Yeah.
like every agent has like the pride of like, it's not me. Like I'm not the issue. Like it has to be the leads. So of
Yeah.
course that's what I resorted to first. And I'm like, bro, like the leads, like what happened? The leads. And so then I get on the phone with Trey and Trey's like, listen, like let's go ahead and break down your numbers based on all the leads that you sold, all the leads that you've bought, and we'll see if you have a good like cost per client. And I was like, what even is that? I had never even heard of cost per client before. I was
Yeah.
like, what are you talking about cost per client? Like break that down. What is that? So then
Yeah.
obviously he explains what cost per client is and goes through like, okay, are you actually profitable amongst all of your batches, not just this one batch? Like, let's take a look at just all the numbers. I was like, okay. So then I go through, send him all my metrics, how many I've closed. He goes and then he takes a look at like how much I've spent. And then like my cost per client was like $100 less than the average cost per client for like anyone else on a typical veteran lead. So then now that I'm sitting back and I'm thinking about this and I'm like, okay, maybe I was just tripping out and maybe it's really not the leads. Maybe it's just I genuinely had people fill out a lead request that were just stupid. Like and that's like that's real. Like, and
Mhm.
that's nothing that the lead companies can change. It doesn't matter what company you're with. Like, the people who are filling it out are the people that you're selling. Like, if they're stupid, then they're going to be stupid when you get on the phone with them. So
Yeah.
it's like, I was like, okay, cool. I was a little upset, took a day, and I was like, all right, like, what's my game plan? Like, should I switch lead vendors? Should I not? Should I stay with Trey? And I was like, all right, like, I'm gonna put it in like another minimum order of 30 leads, like what I did for like $1,000, just a minimum order. I was like, let me just do that one more time. Like, let's just see what happens. Do that again, and then I'm back to my average. I close like 4 or 5, and I'm like, okay, maybe it's not the leads. Like, maybe it's just the person who filled it out. And then and that was like a month ago, and now we're back. Like, I'm still spending like consistently each month on leads. I'm buying like lead packs. Like, I'm still doing like 1,000 orders, but now I'm back to the point where it's just like, okay, like once I get back from my trip, I'm gonna buy a big batch again, try out maybe like a couple different lead types that you guys have, and then I'm just gonna be back at it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just to preface the phone call. Is like I definitely called Trey. I was definitely pissed. I definitely was like telling him that I was super upset with the lead quality. But the reality was like there was nothing that like Trey did wrong or did differently. It's just sometimes you're going to get a bad batch, but to take the numbers from like what you've closed in total rather than just from a one batch. So that's like the biggest takeaway that I got from that phone call. And I think that's changed my perspective a lot because I still think of myself as a newer agent. Like I'm still learning a lot about, I mean, even cost per client. Like I've been doing this for 5 months. Like I came off of a 45K IP month and I didn't even know what a cost per client was. Like I feel like there was areas where I still had a lot to learn and I still am learning. But no, and then even just to like hype up, not even hype up Trey, just to speak highly of him, is like during that whole process, like I feel like it could have been really easy to get like emotional with like even like back at me. But I want to just harp on like how professional that like that you've been and like your whole team has been during this entire like the whole process of me even starting to buy lead badges to where I'm at now, even when there's highs and lows. Because I'll be honest, I'm not even like a huge spender. Like, and I don't even really know who like listens to these podcasts, but I'm not dropping 10K a month on leads. I'm just not. So I'm not like at a point where Trey really should be valuing my business, I feel like. And when I've heard about the names that he works with now, like he works with some really top dog high producers, and I'm not one of them. I mean, I'm a good producer, but I'm not like a Stanley Smith, right?
Yeah.
So it's like I know that there's people that you could have like just been like, all right, like I don't even know why I'm like even messing around with Isaiah. Like, bro, like it's all good. If you want to be cut off, like cut him off. Like we have bigger fish to fry. But what I really do appreciate is just like your professionalism, your humbleness to just like understand where I'm coming from and still value my concerns, even though I'm not even spending like 8K a month on leads. So like that's just one thing about like you and your team that like honestly is like that like keeps me so loyal to you guys as well. As I know that you guys genuinely do have our backs and you guys are looking out for us, even if you're a big spender or you're not a big spender. Like in your eyes, like you're all clients and like we're all the same.
Yeah.
And I think like that's what matters a lot to me. And I think like that's just to kind of compliment you guys because that is like one of the big reasons why I feel like I'm still with you, besides from the lead quality.
Dude, 100%, bro. And I appreciate you for bringing that up. I think for context, so people understand. I like those conversations. He's gassing it up, y'all. He wasn't really mad. In his mind, he thinks he was mad. He was cool. Trust me. We've had mad people. He was really just asking questions. But you know what? I remember at the end of that call, I think when I saw you when we were you may have
Yeah.
mentioned, and you were telling, I think, one of your newer agents about us, and you were like, you did what you said you were going to do when we first had that conversation back in January, where I told you, I was like, dude, if you have issues, just hit us up, bro. Like, I'm an agent at
Yeah.
heart, and I'll be real. I'll be like, look, man, you're tripping. And I didn't even say that because I told you on the phone, I was like, dude, I'm not going to tell you you're tripping. And I'm also not going to say that you're valid because I got to look at the number. I said, so I'll text you.
Yeah.
I said, I'm going to go with my team. Tell me how much you spent or whatever. We broke down the numbers. And I was like, look, dude, here's the industry average. Here's where you're at. Keep running the pack. I think you sold maybe one or two more. And then you bought another pack. And then we were back to what
Yeah.
it was. And the numbers, they never lie when you just break them down. But you made a
Yeah.
good point because it's something I tell people, like all of our clients, I'm like, you cannot be emotional in business. You have to be very
Yeah.
logical because everybody goes through it. You will run leads with anybody, any company, even my company too, where you have a bad week, sometimes even a bad month, but you got to break down, okay, yeah, I just bought 50 leads and I made two sales. But if I go back and add up all my sales divided by how much I have, dude, I'm still crushing it because 3 packs ago, I bought 25 and closed 10. It's like that made up those extra 5 sales, they get added to this deposit. It's all the same. It's still money in, money out.
Yeah,
So,
100%.
yeah, dude, it was a great conversation though, y'all. Just for context, like he wasn't actually that
Yeah.
bad. And we chopped it up. We saw each other at AZ. It's all love, bro. We blessing everybody.
Yeah.
Dude, I wanna finish up. You shared kind of your experience with us, so I won't beat a dead horse, but I do want you, bro, to I just want you to talk about like you because you were typically an agent that may see this, somebody that's on the cusp of working with us and doesn't know much. Like I remember when we first hopped on the call, you didn't really know who I knew at the time, so it wasn't like that association, but you were like, "Hey man, I want to take a leap of faith." So can you talk a little bit about just like your overall experience or like a new agent who may be watching this that wants to work with Agent Lead Lab, like what can they expect? What, not only from the leads, because I know you talked about that, but also like from the team, the leads, and then I'll let you kind of wrap up with that, brother.
Cool. So then I'll hit on like the leads first. Like honestly, you guys have treated me so right in terms of like lead costs. Like I think like the industry is getting super expensive now with leads. Like to run like a premium trucker IUL lead on Go is like $70 a lead. Like that's crazy. Now I know some dudes who are like buying them and they're dogs, like they're closing a ton. So it's not that they don't work. I'm just saying, like, in terms of your guys' lead cost to the actual quality of person that like you're talking to, I think like I have a whole lot more trust in like the advertisements that you guys run and like the actual things that you guys do to get people in the door. Because that was my biggest issue with the lead companies before. Like there was no personability to it, it was just a transaction and I had no idea what was on the other side of the person that was selling like or like who's getting the lead.
Mhm.
So to hit on the leads, like the leads really, like I'm not going to say that they're like the highest closing leads in the industry and like you're going to just sell $1 million off of your first lead pack. Like I'm not going to be unrealistic about it, but I am going to say that like the advertisements that they're running are honest and they're true. They're not misleading anybody. And like when they get on the phone, whenever you get someone to pick up, they know exactly what they filled out. And I think those are the big three things that like you really need to be looking for when getting into a lead vendor and like partnering with someone because that's so important. If you get on the phone with someone who knows what they actually filled out, they had to text verify it, like they actually know that they did it, and then three, like they know about the need and like they understand what they're actually filling out. Like I know I just said like three things, they were all the same, but they
Yeah.
are like that is the biggest thing. And like the ads that they're running aren't like misleading anybody. Like they're true, like honest leads. That's all that like that's all you need, bro. Like that's it. And so like out of a lead company, like that's all I needed to be like, okay, like I'm in with you guys and like let's see like how this works. From a team standpoint, from an actual like business standpoint outside of like leads, like your guys' systems are super organized. Like your Discord is really easy. I love like how everyone hypes each other up in the chat. I have like Mac, who's like I guess like my personal like representative or whatever. He's amazing. Like I genuinely cannot hype up Mac enough. Like the personability, like every single time I call, he picks up the phone. Like whenever I text him on Discord, like he's like responding immediately, putting in lead orders. Like I'll text and be like, hey, I want a lead order put in. And it's like 2 minutes later, it's like, boom, I see the charge come out on my card. I'm like, dang, that was fast. And I didn't have to do anything. And so,
Yeah.
like, I think like that is huge because, like, when you get to a point, because now I'm like starting to build a team, like, there's a lot that you need to be focusing on in the industry and figuring out, like, if you can trust your lead vendor. Like, that's a big one that you don't want to have to worry about whenever you are building up a team and whenever you are starting to sell at a high level. Trusting the person that you're buying leads from should never be a question. And it's not for me. So I think that's like the biggest thing is like the leads are going to be what the leads are going to be. Like you can't control who fills out the form, but you can control what the form says and the people who understand what they're filling out. And I think that's like what people need to look for. And I think that's why, honestly, like Agent Lead Lab has been like my one and only and my main lead source.
Yeah. Dude, we appreciate it, bro. We appreciate I
Yeah.
forgot to ask you a question too before out. What is your best month? I actually don't know this. What is your best month with us on the leads, if you don't mind sharing?
It was 45K of issue pay business.
That boy's in the club. Yes, sir. That's
Yeah.
dope, bro.
Yeah. So we got up there. We got our comp bump, baby. Let's go.
Yeah. Hey, we roll with it, bro. We roll with it, bro. Well, man, bro, we were here for like an hour, so I really like this one, bro. So we could. Anything else you want to leave the people with? And it could just be like advice, anything, or you good, bro?
I'm honestly good. Like, I think at the end of the day, like, if you're just looking for a lead company and you don't really care, like, you can go with whoever. Like, it doesn't matter. But if you are looking for someone and like a lead company that, like, you know that they're going to treat you right and that they're doing good honest business, it really is a no brainer for
Right,
sure.
man. Well, dude, I appreciate it, man. Thank you. For those that are watching, if you want to tap in with Zay, just reach out to your rep directly or whoever sent you this video or however you're watching it. You can go to the website, get in contact with one of us. I'm sure he would love to have you on the team or potentially communicate with you. But outside of that, I appreciate everybody. And Zay, thank you for hopping on today, brother.